Welcome back to Your Property Empire. Now let's get an update on what's happening with the property market right around Australia with Charles Tarbey from Century 21.
Thanks, Carrington. If everybody had a clearance rate like Tom has on a regular basis, we'd be in the middle of a massive boom right now. But that's not the case. Tom is doing better than most. The national clearance rate was 70.8%, and this time last year it was 70.4%, so it's on par or slightly up. And Sydney was the best performer at 76.2%, Melbourne at 73.3%, and Adelaide came in at 65.6%. And I've been chatting about Adelaide for a while, that it's been in the 60s for quite some time. So good, strong clearance rates, but I think you're getting 9s out of 10s. And
I'm at, Charles, I think I'm at, in 4 weeks, I'm 27 out of 28.
There you are.
So only one hasn't sold.
Tom is the only one selling properties in the right area of Sydney.
That's a pretty good looking trend line there.
It's great to see that it's happening this way. You watch it going all the way back to a couple of years ago when it was way down, and then you saw that bump that we had in the marketplace. And sure, we're back in the seasons. We never had the seasons for the last few years, the winter, summer, spring, whatever. It just wasn't there. It was people buying or selling whenever they could.
Right.
We're back in the seasons now, and you'll see the stock start to lift now, and you'll see the clearance rate start to lift, and everybody's ready to go all over again.
When you say we're back in the seasons, do you mean people are being more tactical in when they choose to buy and sell based on when they think they're going to
choose to sell,
right,
springtime, summer and so on, rather than winter when it's difficult to get people out of the house to come and see your property.
Right, gotcha. So there's more confidence in the market.
There's much more confidence.
Okay, great. And what's our next one?
Property's coming on the market, actually, and we've had a slight increase this week. We're sort of a bit hazy there for a while, but we expect an increase. Only a modest one of 0.3% increase over this time last week. New Zealand is still slightly behind. Parts of New Zealand, small parts of New Zealand, have got surplus, but overall the New Zealand market is down in terms of the number of listings, 0.09% over this time last week. So the movement of stock is still not there, but it's not radical where it was going backwards at the start of the winter season. Now we're starting to see it balance and start to see it creep up, which keeps News Limited very, very happy because they get more agents advertising.
Well, absolutely. I've got the fuel prices and education costs for my daughters.
You've got to do these
very important. Keep those ads going.
The Orthodox Church will take some of his money as well.
Yeah. And how are we looking for rent price movements?
Now, they haven't done much at all. They've been sitting really level for quite some time. I've kept a chart starting from 2 years ago or thereabouts, and it's been sitting, and since then it jumped up to in the 11 or 12% on a national basis and has been sitting there. And Perth was the best performer at 18.63% over the time when I started the chart. Right. Sydney came in at 12.27 and Melbourne at 7.67, but overall the average is 12.52. So you see that line has been pretty flat for a while. Yeah. Not a lot of joy for investors, but pretty good for tenants because it's been consistently balanced for some time now.
So that seems to be a bit of a disconnect between house prices going up and rents. And what's behind that, do you think?
Well, you know, the fact that the buyers, a lot of the buyers were people who were tenants previously. So all of a sudden the vacancy rates start to move up, and that's something we're seeing as well. So that keeps the change occurring. And if you see the prices going up, it doesn't necessarily mean, obviously, that the property rentals are going to go with it. So the yields are coming in a lot lower now than where they were based on the increase in price.
Well, I guess on that point, here goes the vacancy rate.
Here we go. Sydney at 3.27.
Right.
Melbourne at 2.7. It's been performing very well, actually, the last few weeks, but the one that has really been a little bit frightening for most agents is Perth, 6.08% vacancy, which is double that of Melbourne and more, and pretty much double Sydney. So the average is 4.05, which is down on last week, which is 4.25, because Sydney was a little higher. But Sydney's come back again. Melbourne's been nice and stable, but Perth is the one that's going a little bit erratic at the moment in terms of prices, moving up in terms of its percentage.
What's kind of seen as a healthy vacancy rate? Is there a historical number that we kind of aim for?
Oh, we're there. We're there now. You know, 3 to 4% is a great vacancy rate to have. You know, I've seen circumstances where it's a lot higher, and certainly in mining areas, we don't even factor it in.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And thank you to Tom and Charles, my property experts, for taking me through my paces. Chris Gray will be back in the chair next week. Have a good night.
The information featured in this program is general in nature and therefore should not be relied upon. Guests appearing on the program may have commercial arrangements with some of the companies mentioned. Before making any investment, insurance or financial planning decisions, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you.